Hello guys and welcome to my new video, and after a few positional sessions now we are talking about a bit of over the board thing. um, I will give you some advices that how could you play against a stronger and against a weaker opponent. Today we are going to talk about that how to beat and how to play against a stronger one, and in the next video we will talk about how to play against a weaker opponent. um, in the in this game today, I will show you a game of mine. I think I was more or less 7 or 8 years old. I don't remember exactly, and my opponent was a 16, 17 years old guy who had already 2,250 rating or something like that. So soon after the game, he became a FIDE master, and I had zero rating at that time. As I said, I was only 7 or 8 years old. So of course, I I wasn't the favorite of this game, but I managed to win. And through this game, I would like to show you what's your best chances to to win against the odds, to win against a stronger opponent than you. E4, C5. Okay, so let's stop here for a bit. What I can say, if you play against a stronger opponent, then you should try to play some sound opening, something which has a theory. So you shouldn't choose something less theoretical, because if the opponent leads to a good theory, then you have a good chance to equalize right in the at the beginning. So you shouldn't do anything special. Just play something normal. But after that, there will be some differences than playing against a weaker opponent. Normally, I would say that most of the time you should play against the pieces, not against the opponent. But in this strategy, you can make some tiny differences. And it's not like that. Some people ask me that, for example, if I have a given position which is very drawish, or maybe I'm a bit disadvantaged, that I play and continue playing against a weaker player. I say no. I play what the position gives. So I try to play against the pieces, but generally in the strategy there could be some tiny differences. And now I try to show you. Knight f3, d6, d4, and we arrive to one of my favorite opening that I play since to my childhood, and that's the Sicilian dragon variation. And of course, dragon variation has a lot of theory, so I think it could be a good choice against a stronger player. And in the other hand, we arrive to one of my advice that I can give you when you play against a stronger opponent. And in this case, when you play someone that stronger than you, then you should try to choose some opening and middle game that are more sharp, more complex, and you should try to avoid very easy positions. I know that playing sharp and playing bold seems risky, but no, it's not. The risky is when you play a quiet position, a very simple position against a stronger player. That's risky, because most of the players try to play something quiet, something normal, something positional and simple when they play against someone stronger, and they hope that they will catch a draw or something like that. But most of the time, the stronger players became better in a simpler position where you have to make many decisions, hard decisions, and somewhere they will outplay you, especially in the end game. So your best chance to beat a stronger player is to play sharp and bold and try to surprise him, because the more complex the game is, the more complex the position is, the bigger chance you have to force him to make a blunder, make a mistake, because a complicated position is also complicated for the better player, so he can also mess up something. So that's why I went for the Sicilian dragon, and we can get back what I was talking about in the beginning, that I choose an opening with a theory. If he goes for some more quiet line with a short castle, then at least I can equalize in the beginning. Or if he wants to have advantage or tries to fight for the advantage in the opening, then he should choose the Yugoslavian attack and castle to the long side. But in this case, it's going to be an opposite castled Sicilian, where we have the chance to make the game more complex, and there is the chance that we can surprise the opponent. Bishop b3, bishop d7, queen d2, rook c8, nothing surprising yet. Those are this is one of the main line. G4, of course that game happened like more than 20 years ago, so the theory was a bit different at that time. Generally I can say that G4 and bishop D3 doesn't work really well together, because the weakness of the F3 square. So basically this bishop belongs to E2 if you play G4, otherwise H4 is the better option here, or long castle and H4, and we transpose to the shortest variation. So G4, it's not a mistake, not a blunder, but it's a bit misaccurate. Knight E5, H4, now he played, and yes, we arrived to an interesting position where black has three options. One plan could be preventing the opponent's plan, so try to prevent the kingside attack with H5. One plan could be the knight C4, which I played in the game, and it's just seems very natural. But the best option would be playing B5, because in the next session we will talk about that. It's especially true when you play against a weaker opponent. Then if he make a move, you should try to show the mistake, the problem with that move. And the b5 is like that. The b5 now is untouchable by the knights, because if he takes, then of course I take, and there will be a fork on f3. So that's the problem with the bishop on b3 and the g4 together. So if you play against someone weaker, then it's a great strategy that you try to show the problem of his moves, because it could demoralize them quite easily. But we will talk about that in the next video. Knight c4 I played, exchange, castle, queen c7, h5, and rook c8. Such a position doesn't really exist in the modern chess, because most of the dragon variation includes h5 move with black, preventing the opponent's attack on the king side. But as I said, that was a long time ago, and the theory was very different. But now what we can see is an extremely sharp position. White attacks on the king side, black attacks on the queen side, and the faster one will win the game. But that's what I was talking about. It's not necessary to be sound, to play correct, to play objectively the best moves. What gives you the better chance to win against the odds is to try to keep the position complex and bold. And in this case, there is a better chance that my opponent will make a mistake. We exchanged 1 pawn on the edge line, and king b1 happened in the game. It's a normal prophylactic moves. He moves out from the c line. Of course, bishop h7 always meet with knight e4, which is a nice discover counterattack. The d4 is hanging, so it's a very typical motifs. King b1 happened in the game, and b5. And now my opponent played rook h2, which is also seems prophylactical. One time he gives extra protection to the c2 pawn, and in the other hand he prepares doubling on the age line. And it's always wise to keep the rooks on different files because they're more effective in this way. I'm not sure that this is the most precise move here, but I think we cannot say it's a mistake. b4, knight d5, knight d5, a d5, and a5. Yes, here queen b7 would be the best option, and after rook h1 we could take the pawn in d5, rook h7, and bishop e6, and that would be the best for black, leading to a very complex position. Everything is hanging, so it's kind of easy to make a mistake at any level, I think. Here, instead of queen b7, I played a5 and started to, do something on the queen side. But yes, it seems that after this move, so probably this is a mistake, because after this move we can clearly see that white's attack will be faster, and we are a bit slow on the queen side. And that's true. So a5 was a mistake, but the most important part, the most interesting part is just coming. What I wanted to show you, rook h1, and it seems that black is lack of counterattack, lack of compensation. A4 is just extremely slow. The h7 is hanging. Everything is hanging. Will we get checkmated really soon? But not today. Because there is a really nice strategy which was my very favorite strategy when I was a child. I called it's like an umbrella defense. What you can do is playing h5 in these kind of situations. Don't imagine that it's like not a super sound and super correct defense. It's not about that. It gives you the best practical chances to protect your king and come back into the game, because if white doesn't play precisely, then you can protect your king, and after that, if you prevented the opponent's attack, we can continue the queen side attack on the other side. So it's like that. It gives the best practical chances. Of course, he took the pawn and g5, and we will see soon why I call it umbrella. Of course, the g5 is untouchable because the d4 is hanging. h6 seems perfectly normal. Bishop f6, rook g1, and this is why I call it umbrella. After g4, he had to take with the pawn, and it's like an umbrella. A white pawn protects black's king. It's really interesting because black king will get checkmated in a few moves if white pawns wouldn't exist. But they are there. The h pawn and the g pawn of white, they are defending the opponent's king, the black's king. And now we get some time to prepare our attack on the queen side. Of course, I have to repeat once again, if you put this position to the engine, probably it's not sound, it's not correct. Probably white has to win this game somehow, but the position is very complex. Everything is hanging. Both sides attack at the same time. So there are many spots to make a mistake, and that was the plan, and that was what you have to do when you are playing against a much stronger opponent. This is the best chance. This is your best chance to get a nice result, because in a quiet, normal position, most of the time they will outplay you, and that's especially true in the endgame. Many people think that when they are playing against a stronger player, they have to exchange the pieces, and they are getting happy when they are getting closer and closer to the endgame. But the sad news is that the biggest difference between a weaker and a stronger player will occur in the end game, and that's the problem, that the better player will outplay the weaker one in the opening. In the end game, doesn't matter how many pieces left on the board, he will find the way to outplay you. A4, G5, bishop E4. And the position is not clear yet, because it seems that the white pawn is protecting my king. It's not easy for white to move forward. Will now black started to have some counterplay, some compensation at the other side. Rook f2, he moved with the rook because it was hanging. b3, and of course in these cases you have to take risk. It's not about precise calculation. We do not have time to play normally anymore. We have a huge disadvantage here in the material. So what we have to do is try to find some active counterplay chances, and in this case we have to take risk, because now we have a losing position, or it was before, I'm not sure if it's still losing now. And if you play normally in a huge disadvantage, then you will lose the game slowly. So the best what you can do if you have a losing position is try to find some dynamic, active counterplay chances, try to make some threat, try to make the opponent's time tough. b3, cb, ab, knight b3, and the first mistake is just arrived. Probably it would be better for him to, I'm not sure, I didn't analyze this very well, he could try to push some pawn a3 or c3 after an exchange, or maybe take them with the pawns, but taking the b3 with the knight, it was clearly a mistake, because now black strikes with a nice small combination. Bishop f5, check. Of course, white has to take the f5, otherwise if he plays king a1, I will do the same plan, but the bishop remain on f5. So he took the f5 and rook c2. And now it's a double attack, the queen is hanging, the b2 is hanging. Rook f2 would be his only solution to hold, to keep the advantage. But what I always say, that if somebody makes a mistake and he realizes that he made a mistake, then they just collapse very easily, and it's a really, really common problem. So when you make a mistake and when you realize that you made a mistake, the best what you can do is try to calm down and try to see the position like it's the first time in your life that you see this position. I mean, try to forget what happened before, focus on now, try to calm down, and that's the most important thing, because if you make a mistake and you realize, then most of the time one more or two more mistakes will follow, and normally the first mistake doesn't lead to the end. So for example, here rook f2 could still save the day, but he had to find the rook f2. So one more mistake couldn't fit in, because that will lead to a lose. h7 check, king h7. Now we can take the pawn, because he cannot really get advantage from the h line until the dragon bishop is on the board. Then the h6 penetration point is totally protected. g6, king g8, and rook c1. It's like kind of the same what he did, what he should do with rook d2, but unfortunately it's not, because now black is winning rook d2, and of course rook c7 doesn't work, because I will play rook b2, and I will win the game shortly. So bishop d2 and queen d7, and from now black starts to be better. Rook f1, bishop g7. we can also learn from this move here with this bishop g7. According to the computer, to the engine, bishop g7 is not the strongest one. If I remember correctly, queen b5 or queen b7, I don't remember, was the strongest continuation. But what I can say that bishop g7 I think is a more practical move, because if you have a material advantage like that, if you have a winning position like that, you should stop taking risk, and you have to start to chill the position and make it more easy to play, and more safety, and more quiet. So bishop g7 gives some extra protection to our king. We leave no penetration point around our king. So maybe it's objectively not the best, but I think making moves with less risk is more important when you have a good advantage than playing objectively the best ones, but a bit more risky ones. So just try to avoid any risk when you have the advantage. Bishop g5, queen b5. Now I play the queen b5 after everything is protected, and it's also a bait, it's a threat, and my opponent fall into that, but unfortunately his position is already lost, so it doesn't really matter what he plays, but at least this move give the possibility to finish the game with style, which felt really nice for a 7-8 years old kid. Queen d3 check, king a1 is an only move, and bishop b2 is a nice finishing of the game. King b2, rook c2. Of course, king a1 would face with queen c3. I think we do not have to talk too much about queen b1, because I just go somewhere with the rook, check, and in the next moves he will get checkmated. So he went king a3 and queen a6, and he had to resign because king b4 would be an only move, but after that bishop rook c4 would lead to a checkmate. Of course he could sacrifice the knight, but doesn't change too much. So yes, that was one of my favorite game in my career, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could learn something from that, and in the next video we will talk about how to play against weaker players. Take care, thanks for watching.